working on a How to Train Your Dragon Toothless inspired top. So right now I'm knitting up my design for the tank. I wanted to make sure that the top was comfortable, but I also didn't want to build off of an already existing pattern, so I tried to freehand knit this using my knowledge of German short rows. I had an idea of what I wanted to make, but I wasn't really sure of an exact image of what I wanted it to look like, so a lot of this is trial and error. I just cast off for this top, and this is what it looks like. It's a little short, but I know that like when I steam it or like when I block it, it'll stretch out longer. I did cast off a little tight, so it is like tight there, but I think that's fine. I'd rather have it tighter than looser, because if it's looser, then like the edges will curl. But I'm not loving the shape of this neckline. I didn't really have like a plan when it came to like figuring out what I wanted it to look like. I just knew that I wanted it to be tank top. That I wanted to start with like the German short rows in the back. Now I'm trying to decide if I want to like add a border to these edges, like a lacy kind of detail, but I feel like it won't make sense with the design that I'm planning, because I want to put a patch like right here with this stamp that I made, but I feel like that's giving graphic tee and the lace makes it a bit more like girly or whatever. So I'm trying to think how I want to do that, fix these edges, or if I should just like crochet the edges so that they won't curl. So we will see what I end up planning, but I knit this up like really quick. I think I only have been working on it for like the past day or two, and like the fit of it is pretty good, because it's usually I have a problem with like either making things really tight or really loose. But I think that I did a good job of making sure the top part was loose and that the bottom part, the decreases, made it tighter so that it's more fitting. I do think that I messed up a little with the front panel with like making the arms, because on the back, this part is just straight. But on this side, I was worried about having to connect the front panel with the back panel. So I had increased, you can kind of tell like there's a triangle. I had increased on the front and the back. Instead of this just going straight down and having that sort of like construction, it swoops backward. And it's not really uncomfortable, but I'm more worried about like the way it looks. Because I don't like that it's so boxy. I don't know. We'll see what I figure out, but this is stage one of the top. So I decided that we're gonna do a little crochet border on the end in red. So right now I'm just doing the foundation row. I'm trying to make something that's inspired by How to Train Your Dragon, but not something that would be in How to Train Your Dragon, because obviously they weren't wearing cute little tops. They were wearing like armor. So this is obviously not going to be something directly inspired by what they would actually be wearing. But I don't want it to be super girly, even though that can be my style sometimes. So right now I'm just doing the bottom. I did also steam it so I can see how much longer it got. I'm looking at this border and I'm kind of thinking she's kind of fun, just like for a little color, pop of color, not necessarily like an edge. I think on the bottom it's fine to just have the color, one layer or maybe 2 layers of color. But for the top, I think I'm just gonna do the same, like 1 or 2 rows on this edge for the armhole. But for the neckline, because I like V-necks most of the time, or I like really wide scoop neck kind of things where it's more of a like this kind of shape, but this is like, it's almost square, and I don't like that it's almost square. I'll see what it looks like with just the crochet border, like 1 or 2 rows. It'll take in the neckline a little, so it might resolve itself, who knows. But I'm using this pretty red. It's kind of metallic. I think that it's very similar to the color of Toothless's tail. It's that red leather, and I think that looks really good. Also,
I want to show you guys the stamps that I made. I'm still very new with lino cut, which is what I think it's called. It's where you have like a big slab of rubber and then you transfer or draw on the rubber and then you cut it out with like wood cutting kind of materials, where it has a handle, it has interchangeable nibs for the end, and they're different like varying shapes. Like some of them are more pointed like this, or a wider point, or it's a full scoop, or it's flat. But this is the design that's on Toothless's tail, and it's cute. And then I have the Night Fury icon from, I think it's from the categories they have of the dragons, or it's like the general Night Fury, or it's like Toothless specific one. I think I might put one here with the black, with the Toothless one right there. Cute, cute. Do that with this on the back, just to be like, it's the tail, you know? My goal is to have this done by the time I go and watch the movie. I'm watching it June 16th, and I'm excited to wear something cute. I mean, no one's really gonna care that I'm wearing something inspired by the movie. If someone notices, they might be like, oh, that's cool. And I'll be like, oh my God, I made it.
So I've finished all the edging. We have cute little red. I think this would be such a cute graphic tee. I'm really liking the red on the neckline. I thought it would look weird because I just love black. I think it looks so cute, and I think having the black right there was like very elegant, very classy. But I feel like making it like this makes it more graphic. It reads more as graphic tee. Updates have been made. I undid the edging that I had here, and I did it tighter because before I had it in like every single hole that was there. But because this is the side of the knitting and not the top, because the top, it's more easy to figure out where you should do the edging. And I think I just did it so loose the first time. Because it was so loose, it was like causing the shoulder that already had poor shaping to be bubblier, like warped. And I didn't like that, but I tightened it and I think that it looks better. It did make the arm a little tighter, but I think because it made it tighter, it made it so like the off the shoulder just naturally happens. So it's harder to get it like to ride up and stay in the wrong position. So it keeps it at that kind of off the shoulder type of length. I had started to think about doing red edging, and I think I do like it because then it makes it look like the ringer tees where it has all the hemming in a different color. And I do like that I did these so thin that like you can kind of barely see it. It's just like a little pop of color. It's nothing too crazy. I think the red would add like fun interest. And because it's off the shoulder now, it raises this front panel up. And because this front panel is raised up, when I put the patch, it'll be like more where your eyes would land when you're looking at a shirt. I like it off the shoulder. I think it looks better. It's cute and I'm loving it.
Next, I'm going to be wet blocking the shirt. So I'm going to be wetting it completely with a non-rinse detergent specifically made for yarn. And then I'm going to wring all the water out. And then I'm going to pin it on a foam mat with some special blocking pins to make sure that it's in the shape that I want it to be.
And then after that, it's on to the patches.
Okay, so that was an epic fail. I only got one of them to work, kinda. This one, you can see that I can't really get the consistency right on like the ratio. I think I actually need to like look up the proper ratio of softener to fabric paint because it's super thin and it's super transparent, and then also it was getting everywhere. It was getting globbed onto the entire sides of it. It was kind of my fault for using a paintbrush to paint it on because I was worried that it was too liquidy to like stick to my stamps. If it's gonna be transparent like this, I might just have to do it on white fabric, unfortunately. Also, on the black one, I had to completely give up on the patch because on the black fabric, nothing is working. So the red, I completely colored it out with the paintbrush on accident, but the red, it's too light on this black fabric. And then I tried to get the white to see if the white would show up on it, and it doesn't. So I think the black fabric is just a complete no-go. And also I struggled so much to sew the patches because I was using scraps, and so they weren't quite the sizes that I would like, and they weren't really uniform. And also I was struggling to like pin them, and so it's very messy on the back. And I got a new machine recently and I don't think I know it very well. So I was just fighting. I have a headache, everything hurts. I will make attempt number 2 later. Okay, update. I sewed these off camera because I was fighting the patches. My machine was not working with the fabrics. It was sucking it into the machine. I just decided I had to hand sew it. I have this old pair of cargo pants that was donated to me for using to thrift and upcycle and things. I cut 2 different ones. I decided I wanted them to be 2 different sizes because the 2 patches are in different places. So the one that's on the front, I wanted it to be bigger because I think it looks better as opposed to like a small patch, because I feel like a small patch, it just makes it look hastily attached. You know, it doesn't look good. So I wanted a big one because it kind of looks more like it's intended to be a part of a shirt that way. And the small one is gonna go in the back with the other stamp on them. So I think I'm just going to try to use some leather paint and see if that works. And I'm gonna test it on like another piece of the fabric in hopes that'll work. And also because this is a lighter color, I think that I can still do the black on the front and the red on the back because that's what I really wanted to do. We'll see what I end up doing because I don't know if it'll work the way that I think it should.
Now I'm trying to mix the colors of the leather paint to make a burgundy to use for the patch on the back, and I'm trying to lightly apply the leather paint to the stamps to test them, and then I'm using popsicle sticks to rub the ink onto the stamps because I think they're too thin for me to stamp the stamp into and have the paint transfer properly, so I'm trying to lightly apply it. I'm also a bit worried about being able to get an even coat of paint onto the fabric, so I'm doing a couple test runs to make sure that it's the color that I want and that it's the consistency that I want and that it's not too transparent when I'm putting it onto the fabric. I'm also testing out some of this brown leather paint to act as a weathering agent to make the patches a little less clean because I love the look of the dirty parchment that they use inside the movies. This is how the patches turned out. Now I'm pinning them onto the shirt and sewing them in place.
Okay, so I just did my hair. It's inspired by Astrid's hair inside the live action, but my hair's not in braids. So I just kind of did this weird thing where I braided this section and I twisted this section around it, and then I kind of just wrapped it around the braids because that's how her hair looks in the movie. It's braids and then she has more braids wrapping around it, but I didn't want to braid this section and then wrap it around it. I added some extensions in. They're very bouncy. And now I'm really quickly trying to make a headpiece. I'm gonna crochet it because that's all that I have. I have a hairband. I'm just gonna crochet onto this hairband, crochet a long strand, and then close it around here so this can stretch over my head. So we're gonna see how everything turns out, and I hope that you enjoy the final reveal. I love it. I think it turned out so cute, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and got to see something cool, and hopefully it inspires you to make something cool. So have a great day.